I've been thoughtin' and boughtin' since I was a young little thing, okay?
Oh my god, it was the most intense thing that ever happened to me.
My life is a chaotic madness. Chaotic madness.
What's good, bitches? It's your girl Sasha Raee here, back at it again with another episode of Chaotic Madness. And we have the one and only who is back from her retired days, Miss Sophia Locke.
Hi.
I cannot believe it. Hey, girl.
Hi.
Well, before we jump into it, for those who may not have been around early 2010-ish days.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Aging myself.
And me too. Thanks a lot.
Go ahead and kind of introduce yourself. Let them know who you are, and then we'll kind of get into where you are now.
Sure. So I got into the industry, I think, gosh, it was probably, I was 25 years old, so 11 years ago. And I remember I started because I had always kind of been into BDSM, and then I saw those pop-ups of cams, and I thought, there's no way that these are live. Like, that's just crazy. When I saw that they were, I was very excited about it and just kind of did it as a fun supplemental income thing. Realized that I loved it and got super into webcamming, primarily for MFC at the time, my free cams, which was just the Wild West back in my day, which is how that is sounding right now. But it was the cusp of doing games and raffles, and instead of, the good old tried and true masturbation for money, it got creative. So it was fun to me for me to really explore that side and do really, really weird shit involving Godzilla costumes and Jenga towers. So it was really fun. Kind of the part that I loved the most was the community of women who were involved in it. So I started running events for the industry, like Cam Girl Mansion, and got women together who were sitting alone in their homes and hadn't really spoken with someone else in person who did this. There's just such a strong stigma, especially at the time. So to have people that you knew understood you and that you got along with, having them all together in one place, and just the confident, sex positive, body positive, all of that was thrilling for me to just be in that world and to be around women like that. So gosh, this is kind of a long story. And so I did that for a few years. And then through like sitting at home and camming and not really doing much, I gained a lot of weight. And then I lost a lot of weight with a trainer. And my goal was to do pro porn with especially kink.com, because they were the dream of BDSM, really pretty, really mean, but very consensual sex work.
Where you kind of question, is she okay?
Right, and then they do it.
Turned on by it, like
yes. It's my jam. So I reached out to them. I had a dominatrix friend who knew one of the directors and was like, oh, but she really does actually like this stuff. And so I did shoots for them, and then did some other like porn shoots with a couple of the other companies, and really, really loved that. That was a thrill for me, just as an exhibitionist and someone who wants all of my stuff out there all the time and people jerking off to it. So I did that. And then with camming, so for about like 7 years in or so, I just met a partner who said he was fine with it, but also, just you can tell when someone's kind of like uncomfortable. And so I just slowly worked my way out of the industry, and and just focused on that and focused on doing the BDSM stuff in my personal life. Had like a playroom that was all built out, and my partner and I dated women together and introduced women to it, which was fun for me. But now that relationship is over, I just really thought about it and said, what is it that I want to do, like completely with no compromising and nothing holding me back. What would make me happy? And I crossed my fingers and I said, I hope that somebody remembers me. It's been forever, 5 years or so since porn and 3+ years for camming. And I like tiptoed back into it and have just been blown away by the warmth and love that I've received from the camming community, from the porn community, from the fan community. I just am overwhelmed with joy and so excited to be naked on the entire internet again. The end.
The end.
And
And
scene.
that's it, ladies and gentlemen. No.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no, it's for someone that has been in the industry as long as you have. I mean, you have quite a rapport with different backgrounds of the adult industry. So I remember it had to have been around 5-ish years ago where I realized I hadn't seen you on my social media at all. And then I tried to find you, and it was as if you never existed. I couldn't find any like porn. I couldn't find any old social media platforms. I couldn't find your old MFC like profile. Absolutely nothing. It was as if I had made you up in my head.
I'm so sorry I left you.
Just left. And so I was like, whoa, what happened to Sophia Locke? Like, where did she go? It just didn't make any sense because for me, it felt so out of the blue because you were so active in the community.
Yeah.
And then you just randomly popped up on Twitter, and I thought it was a catfish. It's like, there's no way this is her.
I get it.
Are you serious? She's back? Like, holy shit, a ghost just resurfaced. It was the weirdest deja vu, out of body experience because you were just gone.
Yeah.
And for someone that is extremely happy in the industry, like there's no acting with you, there's no persona in the sense of, well, I pretend that I'm into this because it makes me money. No, this is truly who you are. So it was interesting to see or hear why you had kind of left the industry and then you made the choice to come back because you have no strings attached, which for people that are in the industry and have relationships, I think can understand that it is a very complicated navigation because you have not only yourself where you're on 24/7, and then you have to cater to a relationship where you may not want to be sexual or you may not want to be intimate because you just did this for 8-12 hours. Like no one wants to do this for 12 hours and then try to be in a relationship and give them what they need, and then they can also have trust issues and think that they're comfortable with what we're doing or see and be active in what we're doing, but it is very complicated to be in a relationship in this industry. So it's just, I mean, not that it's a bad thing that you chose to leave for the sake of your relationship. I think I'm more so just surprised because you were so happy in the industry that you made the choice to walk away from something that truly not gives you purpose, but it's just who you are.
Right. I did feel fully myself in the industry, and I was very happy in that relationship too, so it was just a compromise. And I do feel like it's absolutely possible to, have your boundaries and expectations within a relationship while still being able to fully be yourself and not put yourself in a box for somebody else. And that's kind of my new goal, is that no matter what comes up, I want to stay true to what really makes me happy. And it's kind of like that thing where you don't know what you had until it's gone, or until you come back, rather. In this case, happy, and I was living this kind of country life, and all of my sexuality was just within this relationship and the women that we were dating together. And then kind of busting out of that box again felt it was just so freeing, just so freeing. And I don't think that I realized how much I had really given up until I came back.
Wow. That is um kind of deep because it's true you don't know what you have till it's gone. You were gone for 5 years, which is a long time to leave the industry. I mean, that is a
Yeah.
long time. I mean, if you don't cam for a week, people forget about you. So,
Right? That's why I was like, I don't know. Hi. Hey guys.
so it's just it's nice to hear that you're just doing something for yourself. And as you can see, everyone is welcoming you back. It looks like you've been out doing bookings, all of like just everything so quickly ramped up. Um, so
I'm going
that's
big this
good.
time too. You know, I
Yes.
really I feel good about that. Yeah, I have nothing, like nothing holding me back. So I want everything.
She said everything, which means all the dicks in her mouth and all the holes at the
And all
same time. Like,
I mean, that's living the dream. If I
that
do
is
say so
living the
myself.
dream. I mean, who can sit there and say, well, I mean, we know a lot of people that can say that they just have dicks in their mouths and their holes all day. But I mean, the
Yep.
average person cannot truly say that. Um, so you touched on a little bit about how you had gained a lot of weight from camming and then you had lost a lot of weight, which by the way, you look great. Like
Thank
body
you.
on fleek, stomach flat, abs
Oh, I got
coming through.
titties.
Like, girl. Talk a little bit about how that journey was for you and what made you want to lose the weight. Like, if it was something mentally, if it was your fans, if it was society.
Sure. Well, the like part of the reason, so I'll start with this by saying that I'm like sober. I haven't had a drop of alcohol in 5 years. And at the time when I had kind of gained the weight, I was drinking and I started working from home. So you're sitting around a lot. And then I also dealt with the fact that when I came out to my mom about doing sex work, she was um, not happy about it. And that it eventually ended up in a disowning. I mean, I still don't talk to her to this day. And so that kind of combined with drinking and sitting around, I gained a good amount of weight and it kind of crept up. What I can say though is like the guys in my room and well, guys and gals in my room with camming like stuck with me through all of the body changes, which was so validating. It felt really good to be like, okay, well, maybe it's also personality and not just like you have a cute pussy,
Right.
which I mean, it is, but so so I just reached a certain point where I kind of realized that I wasn't comfortable in clothing. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. I wasn't comfortable unless I had the exact right angles on cam, you know. That was a good like
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I think a lot of us have been there. And I decided to hire a trainer and really get that in check. And just had the support of all the people on cam, and it was just a really good experience. It took about a year and a half to lose 60 pounds, and then I did like a fitness competition just to show that I could do it. And then from that point forward, I've kind of maintained for maybe 7 years or so, a little bit of up and down, but not too bad. And yeah, I guess I just accidentally came back with a revenge body after my breakup because I was already counting calories, and then I had had plastic surgery. I had gotten my breasts done, not because of porn at all. It was just because they had kind of deflated over weight loss and years and age.
Right.
And I noticed it and went, no, I'm not happy with this. You can't work that out at the gym. So I was like in surgery within a couple of months of like, let's do something. And then a week after my surgery, my partner decided that he would rather, when having to choose, would rather be with one of the girls that we were seeing. So he
Oh.
left. So I was like, well, that's fine. Bye. I'm not sticking around for that. And then I just ended up with like feeling good about my body and feeling like I was in good shape, which is good when someone leaves you for somebody very hot.
I was gonna say that can be a little insecure because I feel like, because like with people I've dated, we would always find like really attractive women. Like
Yeah.
Like it has to, like, I need you to be hotter than me. Like I need you to know that like I am fucking someone that is above me, like on every level. But then I would feel insecure if he would just end up leaving me for that bitch. I'd be like, damn.
Right. It was a catching feeling sort of thing, which wasn't within our
Yeah.
boundaries or rules. And then so I had to make the
Right.
decision, and he decided that, came back like 24 hours later and was like, just kidding. And I was like, nah, that door's closed. I'm so
Nah.
sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry.
I was
You're
like,
an
wish you
idiot.
luck, you know. Yeah, yeah.
Bye
So
bye.
yeah. So but I mean, I'm just like, I'm honestly, even though it's still pretty fresh, a couple months fresh, I still feel like,
Oh, that
oh
wow.
shit. Like, yeah, it's been only like a couple of months. And so, but getting back in the industry, it's I kind of feel like it was for the best, honestly, already, even though I was totally fully committed and into that. It's just, I don't want to
This is
be
the
with someone I
same.
have to compromise for.
This is the same partner from the beginning, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
My
That's
cam guys knew him as Two Forks in my cam.
yes.
It was the
Yes.
same guy.
Wow. Okay. That is a very complex and deep relationship for it to only be a few months fresh.
Yeah.
Like I thought maybe it had been like a year, maybe something happened. It's been some
No.
time. No, you were like, okay, deuces. So hey y'all, I'm back.
Well, there was a good 2 weeks of like, I can't eat and I'm the saddest, most betrayed person on the planet. And then about a month after, I think I made my official announcement and was like, what's this OnlyFans thing I've been hearing about in the
Yeah,
vanilla
living
world?
in the crave.
Let me get up on that. And then it's just been, I think just the combination of having really warm, wonderful, quality girlfriends in my personal life, as well as like just reaching out to this model community and all the people, like all of that warmth coming back has been really healing for me, and really validating. And I'm getting all the words that, I maybe didn't get for years of, I just feel appreciated. And I can't say enough good things about how awesome it's been.
Good, that's so good. It's when you mentioned about drinking, what a lot of people don't realize is maybe not so much now in days with camming, but definitely back when we started, like 2010, 2011, drinking was kind of part of your setup. It was
Yeah.
that plus then your camera, then the lights, and then a shot glass. Like it was just like the staple. You just had to. I mean, you made a lot of money, do shot tips. People would buy you bottles. Like it was just like a nice, fun way to have interaction. But what I think a lot of people didn't realize is that most of us are alone in our rooms for 364 days a year. Maybe
Yeah.
go like to a convention once, so we'll include that. But for the
Yeah.
most part, you're alone and you're drinking, and that can create a lot of bad habits because you're alone. You're depressed because you're alone. You have no interaction with anyone physically, um, or in real life because you're usually living a double life. So when you
Yeah.
are outside as yourself, you're not truly yourself because you're pretending now to be someone else when you just want to go home and be the real self, which is your online persona, which sounds so
Yeah.
backwards, but when you're in the industry, it makes sense.
That's a great point. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's just it's a scary thing because I think a lot of people don't talk about the mental health aspects of being in the industry, and I should say back then because I don't know about camming now. It can be completely different, but at least back then, and the fact that you're able to talk about that so openly is something that I wish more people would do because it almost gives the impression that what we do is so easy and that there's no struggles that we go through, and that one snowball can cause a lot of other snowballs, and then you just have this whole big mess that can cause, like you said, the weight gain. And then now not only do you have the weight gain, but now you're trying to make sure you still look good because you're a sex icon at the end of the day. Like your whole body is your product, so you have to make
Hmm.
sure that's right. And then on top of that, you're just drinking fucking bottles a day
And you're making money for it
and
too.
making money. So why
Yeah.
would you stop when
Yep.
you're making money? There are so many times I would be blacked out drunk on cam and not realize it until I would log off and be like, holy shit. But then I look at the tokens of like, holy shit.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Let's do
and
it again.
there's also the part where, you know, if you've had kind of a weird day or you're not necessarily in a sexy mood, and then you have a couple shots and you feel a little bit like looser and dirtier and a
Maybe
little more
the energy.
open to suggestion and all of that
Yes.
too. It definitely helped with that. And you know, you
Yes.
do shot shows with girlfriends, and then that was kind of fun to be like drunk and hooking up. And
Yes.
so there are a lot of aspects to it that made it appealing, and that there were also absolutely downsides.
Yeah. I feel like one of the biggest things that I wish I would have personally scaled back on would have been the alcohol.
Really.
I didn't realize then that I needed it to
Mm.
get through my working days
Oh,
until I stopped drinking. And then I realized I can't do a show sober. There's a problem.
yeah.
I need to try to fix it. But then I just didn't feel like myself enough. I felt like I was boring. I was the boring, normal, like vanilla version of
Oh,
myself.
yeah.
The nerdy one that is very quiet and doesn't really talk to people. So I think that's just something important to kind of touch on about the alcohol abuse, or even I know some people that did recreational drugs to also help them get through shows or just conventions. Oh my God, especially conventions, because those are a long-winded, full week of non-stop
Yeah.
movement.
Yeah.
Um, and then speaking of conventions, let's talk about Camgirl Mansion.
Oh, yeah.
The last that I heard of it, and this was so long ago too, so don't quote me on anything, but but I heard that there was drama, and then it ended because of drama, something like that. I don't know, but I have the source here. So I think the last one, well, you do them every year in Vegas, right? Like first it was a
Right.
house, and then I think you started doing it at the Palms Hotel.
So yeah, so when it started, it was a like a mansion rental in Las Vegas, and so and there was one that was fantastic, and then they started doing in Vegas like laws about rentals that weren't 30 days, like they have like rules about that, so it got really complicated. My partner at the time, who was also my business partner, was like really instrumental in making sure that all of this kind of worked, you know. But I think the partnership is really what made it successful. And so we did it there. We did an after party at the mansion for like fans to come and like meet the girls, and we always had security, and we, you know, it was just this incredible time, for people to actually just meet in person in a safe environment, you know.
Yeah.
Man, there was some dirty shit that went down too, like between the girls. I still have a picture. It's one of my favorite pictures of like of Ayla like strap on fucking me at like on the couch, and just people being
Oh, I
like
think I was there
standing.
for that. That was one of the earlier
Mhm.
ones, right? Yes.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was.
Let me tell you about this party. So I was new, and I mean, I still think I'm a nobody, but I was really a nobody during this time. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a big girl and I'm gonna go to this party and I'm gonna like network and meet people. And
Mhm.
when I tell you the shit I saw, I felt like I did not belong. And I was by myself, so I was already awkward and like really
Oh.
shy. And I don't know, I get social anxiety sometimes, especially when there's like really top models there and everyone's already know each other. So I'm just like,
Mm.
oh my God. And then I remember seeing just like cameras and flashes and like a semicircle mob of people watching these two girls on a couch. So I'm creeping over, looking like, what's going on over there? And all I see is this girl strapping you on. I'm like, you know what? I need to get involved in this type of shit because this
I
is where it's
mean,
at. It's
it
like,
was
wow.
fantastic.
It's like, damn, okay, this is how y'all get down. Okay.
Yeah,
And then I
welcome.
remember I left shortly after that because I was just like, you know what though? This I'm sober and I'm by myself, and then I left. But I never forgot that moment because it felt like a
Oh,
movie scene, like a
oh.
complete movie. So it's
Well, I
really
wish I still had them so like we could like hang out and it wouldn't be
dude,
like
I know, right?
yeah.
That would be fun. For like something like that to happen. But there's just always so much drama, at least for myself. Every time I try to do a group environment, it always turns out to be so much drama. And then I'm just like, I could have just stayed home and saved money. Like, and
Yeah.
I'm getting older too, so I just really don't care for the drama anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe when I was younger, because I was young and toxic and
At least
young.
you reckon you're aware, you know, you know that.
Yeah,
Well, I was pretty proud of how relatively neutral and like female supportive and all of that kind of was with those events. And I mean, talking about drama, I can kind of get into, you know, what happened with all of that. And it was so we eventually would have the mansion week of like the 22 girls or so staying together during the week and camming and working together and just chatting and connecting. And then we would have the after party. We started having it at the Palms in that Playboy suite um, until it was like maybe a year before I like left and or at least like left that relationship and business part of it. I think somebody like called and told the Palms that we were like that there was prostitution there, which there wasn't. And so they were like, we can't have you here anymore. So it was like an active sabotage, which was cool. We were like, okay, whatever. And so around that time, I had broken up with that partner romantically. And so we decided to split the businesses. I would have my LLC under my stage name, and then he would take the Cam Girl Mansion name and build that as a brand, which he had said once to me that that he thought he could do it, you know, with pretty much anyone. Which I was a little bit like, okay, have fun with that then. That's fine, sure. And so then it became his property, you know, his intellectual property as well as his business. And so for me, I was hired to like attend the last after party, but like that whole thing wasn't my baby anymore. And so there were things about it that I maybe wouldn't have done the same. And I think that it just ended up kind of not quite working out. And I think there was some drama, but at that point I was just kind of out of it. You know, like I cared for that partner, you know, I wished him well and I wanted things to be successful, but it also just wasn't my focus anymore and it wasn't my business anymore. And so I was like, well, if you can do it with, then, you know, by all means, have a great time. But I was focused on a new partner and still with camming and not doing like pro porn anymore. So I had moved on from it. And then whatever drama there was kind of centered around how he was running things or not running things. But yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I didn't really realize you weren't a part because I mean, when you hear CGM or Cam Girl Mansion, like Sophia Locke just kind of goes like that's what you think of because that's how it was started. It was born with you bringing all these girls together.
Yeah.
So I mean, shit happens, and
I loved it. And when I was a part of it, it was something that I was absolutely proud of.
yeah, it was definitely fun. I never actually did the week thing where like I'm with the girls, but I just remember that one party. I'll never forget that
I would
one
have been like,
party.
get in here. What's the problem? Come on. Did you bring your strap on? Let's go.
That one party, man. I feel like though, if like you had it today, I'm a little bit more confident in myself that
I
I'd
love
be like, well then shit, let me like I would be more like not scared.
I
a
love that.
little
I
I
love
felt
that.
like a little virgin. I felt like a virgin like seeing sex for the first time. It was a weird experience. I don't even know why it just I guess I wasn't expecting that from a party. That's all.
Yeah, and it was exactly the kind of party I wanted to throw. I think we had like a stormtrooper as like one of our like we pulled people like off the strip that we were friends with that had like the full like Darth Vader costumes and stormtrooper. That was for one of the parties. It was a wild time, and it was just I don't know. It's just this beautiful like memory, all of those years of it, you know.
Time back then that was so different, being in the industry than it is now.
Is it?
Yeah, because back then we didn't really have social media. Like Instagram had came out in 2014, maybe 15 ish, but it was mainly just our form of social media was actually interacting and meeting and hanging out with other girls and collabing in each other's rooms.
Yeah.
Now you have the internet, and the internet is just a whole different ball game. And I feel like there's this nostalgia of having, like how we were talking about with your technical difficulties, where we didn't have studio lights and professional cameras and
Yeah.
microphones. We literally had cheap ass laptops that we used the built-in webcam that was probably like 420p, and the built-in microphone with the standard yellow fluorescent lights that comes
Yeah.
in all places, and that's how we cammed and make money. And now it's such a production, and it feels like such a studio that, I mean, it's nice because sometimes it's cool, but sometimes it's just nice to just turn on the laptop camera and just vibe. But you don't have that type of energy anymore. It's
Yeah.
very much um, lights, camera, action, glitz, glam, perfection. That's
Yeah.
It's all about perfection now.
Interesting. It was definitely kind of like a more raw amateur. You had a look into someone's life and bedroom. And I think that was really exciting for a lot of the fans too,
Yeah,
of like, ooh, like I just happened to catch her in her room while she's touching herself, like that sort of thing. I do
exactly.
remember when I started camming, I don't think I had like really looked at my like pussy and ass before, but like it's like right there on the screen. And I like, it was one of those things where you're like, okay, all right, that's what that looks like
Oh
up
wow.
close. Because when else would you have that, you know, that
Right.
interaction? But I don't know. I think probably one of my favorite parts of it was just like learning about all the different fetishes that people had, and being this kind of open community of like a safe, non-judgmental, like what the fuck are you into? Like it was just
Right.
really, and it was fun to watch people grow over the years with, hey, I'm really embarrassed about this, to, hey, now I found other people in my life that I can talk to about
Yes.
this. I'm not ashamed of it. And that was something that was really fulfilling for me, to just have that space available for people. Um, and just fascinating. I still tell crazy, crazy stories to, you know, like people in my vanilla life of like, you don't even know what people are into. And it's glorious, fucking
People
glorious.
are so afraid of telling what their true fetishes are, but
Mhm.
they will tell a cam girl, a sex worker. They
Yeah.
will, and you will be surprised. I've learned a lot of fetishes just from fans telling me what they're into, and then I find myself feeling, hold on, I kind of like this too.
Yeah.
But in vanilla life, some of the things that people are think are extreme, I'm like, girl, if you think that is extreme, like that is vanilla in my
It's
industry.
quaint,
Like
right?
that's very we would say boring.
You're like,
Oh
cute. You like choking? That's so cute.
my god. Wow. Oh, you got a little
Oh.
bell. Oh, you're stepping up. Like
Yeah.
and then here's Sophia with like being tied to the ceiling, legs spread, arms spread,
Feet with
freaking
shit.
like nipple clamps on, like, and we're like, oh wow, she's doing a moderate scene today.
Oh, are you going easy on her? That's so sweet.
Oh wow, she must be having a really rough day today, so you're going a little easy. So it's just so funny when you try to compare normal vanilla people and what they think are
Mhm.
extreme, and then our industry where we're like, I can tell you some fetishes that you've probably never even heard of.
Yeah.
And it's just the openness of people feeling safe. It's just
Yeah.
it's a safe space. It's truly what it is, where you can really just be yourself and not have to worry about judgment from people within the space and the community. And it's just something that I love so much, that you can just do whatever, and there's going to be someone that is going to be into that kink or that fetish,
Sure.
or it's just it's a nice world to be a part of. So
It is. And you can get that need met, if you're somebody who has this very unique specific fetish, you can go on the internet and there's like a nice lady that will do it for you for money, you know what I mean? And will make you feel good about it. Like I just love the consensual nature of it. It just was a really fun thing.
very fun. Well, I mean, not was, is, because you're back.
Yeah. I mean,
You're
like
back.
that's very true. That is very true.
Yeah.
And I've been considering doing kind of like the live feature on OnlyFans, but like I do feel like my camming career was like kind of wrapped up in that. And so like I'm excited about OnlyFans and being able to kind of treat it like I did like my premium Snapchat way back in the day, of like, well, here is kind of my daily life, but it's not getting ready and being on cam for hours and having to have an idea of what I'm going to do and then hoping that people want that day. That kind of aspect of sex work is something that I don't think I'll go back to, but I still have like a really warm place in my heart for it and an appreciation for the people who supported me and made it so that I can make it my livelihood for 7 years.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I'm kind of going into the like OnlyFans and then porn
The
direction.
more like clip sites and
Sure, yeah, stuff like that.
okay.
But
Okay.
just, I mean, the exhibitionism is still completely there where I'm like, oh, I want to know if like you came to this, like just people on the internet. That's fantastic.
There's something about knowing that someone is watching you.
Hmm.
And I used to be ashamed to say that I liked watching people have sex,
Yeah.
but I just really like watching sex scenes in movies, even though they're trash, but it's just something about me watching someone about to bone that just gets me hot and bothered. I can be in the worst mood ever, and then a sex scene will come on. I'm like, oh Lord. I'm okay.
I love that you embrace that too. That was something where when I started dating outside of like sex workers, I assumed most women were kind of like the women that I knew in sex work. And that the friends of mine that were like, yeah, we're buddies, but like also we fuck and it's cool, that sort of idea. And so when I started dating like in the vanilla world with my partner, I was shocked at how much shame and insecurity there is and stigma around sexuality and being open about your sexuality that there is with women outside of the industry. I was in this beautiful bubble of sex positive, kick ass fucking women. And I got out of it and went, oh no. like,
You're
so
living like
you're
this.
so like, there's so many women who are ashamed of it or feel bad about wanting pleasure or feeling pleasure. And so that was something that was kind of a jolt of reality. That was kind of a bummer, but I mean, I hope that I was a lot of women's like first time with women, which was really
Okay.
fun for me. And I'm ready for it emotionally. I'm still expecting that one time I'm gonna like kiss a girl and she's like, it'll be my first time, and then she'll make out with me and be like, yeah, no, that's not for me. Hasn't happened yet, but I'm fully prepared of the like, it's okay. It's
Like
not
that's
for
what you
everyone.
tried it. It like
You tried it. Clearly
that's
it's not for
okay.
you.
We can be friends. Trust me, it won't be weird.
Right,
But
right.
it's true. There is a huge stigma because before I got into the industry, I was very close minded and very not judgmental, but I felt that I couldn't express what it was that I wanted or I needed sexually. And then
Yeah,
going into the industry, it took me a while to really adjust because it was a completely different world
yeah,
where you have people that are sex positive. You can talk about different kinks. You can talk about um, how to pleasure yourself as a
yeah,
woman because there's so many different ways, and women can experience like, oh, like I get really dry. Oh, well, this is what works for me. And before I
yeah,
got into I'm like, if I'm dry, I'm just gonna be quiet, and I mean, it won't be pleasurable, but I'm not going to like say stop, as weird as that sounds, because you don't want
yeah.
to be the one to ruin the mood or kill the
Right,
vibe.
right.
So it is a very it's very interesting. It's two different worlds, but society shames sexuality so much that it makes people afraid to talk about it and
Yeah.
want to be a part of it because of the shame that comes with it. and the stigma.
Yeah.
So it's I think unfortunately the shame will always be there because I don't think society will ever change its mind or its views on things. But I try to make people feel more comfortable and being themselves. Like I just had a whole conversation yesterday with my friend about different vibrators and anal sex and
Yes.
what makes me feel good and tips and tricks for her and
Mm.
to me it was a normal conversation. To her, it's like this isn't awkward. I'm like, girl, no. Like,
No, that's beautiful. Yeah.
so I don't know. It's nice. Like the fact that you stress so much on community is something that I really pride in as well is the community and the safe spaceness of it all. So
Yeah. Well, and it's like you deserve to have a good time too. And what's really nice about like obviously like the sex worker community and the BDSM community is that it's all about communication. And so, it's like communicating what you like and what you don't like, and then feeling confident enough to speak up in the middle of an encounter and say like, "Ooh, I love that. Like, can you like, oh yes, more of that," or to say like, "Oh, maybe not right there. I'm a little sensitive right now." Like, and
yeah,
I'm now at that point in my life with my age. I don't know what clicked, but I just like I am in control, of my pleasure and of what like getting what I want in life and in sex. And it feels really, really good.
if you could give your younger self when you first started advice that you have learned or know now, what would you tell yourself then?
Um, I honestly feel like I did it in a way that was really good and empowering for me. So I'm pretty proud of how I moved through the industry and how I moved through sex work. Um, what what I found really valuable was to stay exactly true to what I was comfortable with and what I wanted. So I would, if someone wanted to do something or pay for something that I wasn't comfortable doing, I wouldn't do it. It was never about like the money. And I think that authentic experience actually helped me in my career, was that people knew that if I was doing it, it's because I enjoyed it. And so that brought people to me, and brought me pleasure while doing it. I mean, of course, sometimes it's a job, obviously,
Right.
um, but all of the things that I didn't want to do, I didn't do. Anyone that was shitty to me, I banned them immediately and mocked them mercilessly. And you know what I mean? Like I just didn't put up with shit, and I'm proud of that. And so that's, I mean, that's advice that I would give if anyone cared to have any. but that's what made it so, looking back on it, when I talked about it with people in my over the last 5 years, it was always a very, empowering experience for me personally. It was something where I was fortunate enough that doing sex work was a choice for me.
Oh,
And I do feel very privileged in that. And then I was able to do it in a way where I enjoyed it.
yeah, it's you hear a lot of stories from people where they don't have as much of a privileged background and like I found myself doing things that I wasn't necessarily comfortable with, but the money was so great that I would do it. But then I would have to trick my mind into knowing that it's a job and remind myself of how much money that I'm making to do this thing, and then it
Yeah.
just wouldn't be like a good experience. And then there's completely hard limits that I've had people offer me life-changing amount of money that I'm just like I can't, just my soul, my heart, my being, I just cannot do.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I think not everyone makes it into a career. It's
Hmm.
a job that in the moment you're making money, but you don't turn it into a career where you're setting yourself up where you, how do I word this? It's like, okay, so for myself, it used to just be a job. I would
Sure.
get online, make money, pay my bills, awesome. Have extra spending money, awesome. And now I'm at a point in my life where I'm actually branding myself and turning it into a career where now I'm in different spaces of the industry. Like now I'm a personal assistant for sex workers.
Oh,
Now
great.
I have a podcast that is really about bringing sex workers onto a platform where we don't have to sit there and fetishize or sexualize them being a sex worker, but just having a conversation like we would if we were at a convention or something together.
Yeah, something authentic like that. I love it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just having a conversation and vibing out because we are way more than just sexual beings that put objects in our bodies. And I wanted people to see a different light of sex workers. But I'm still a sex worker. It's just now I have a different branding about it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, especially younger, you see that kind of money coming in and really fast that you don't set yourself up in a way to sustain the lifestyle for decades to come.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to explain. There we go.
That was perfect.
I was like, how do I explain this
Yeah.
without saying the wrong thing and getting the wrong message out there? That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, and I did, okay, if I could actually, now that I think about it, if I could go back and talk to myself about it, it would be to save your fucking money. Like, oh my God, I switched industries and I was deep in debt and I had to crawl out of it. And now I'm great. Everything's going really well. But you see the money and you think it's just going to keep coming in forever. And it just doesn't. And you get back out there. And I was at one point working 4 jobs, like for a friend's company, for other things, building a different career in a different industry. And so it was something where I went, ooh, I should have appreciated that a little bit more, which I'd had jobs before it. I think the girls really, really young with no like real life work experience, it's really hard to appreciate, like that it can be fun and that you can make good money. Which obviously like not always.
Right.
It's not always that way. But I certainly should have had a little more, I should have planned for the future a little bit better. I just thought I could like shift, and it took years and it took a lot of debt, and now I'm good, but it was a struggle. And so this time I'm like saving money and pretending to be an adult about it.
What is an adult?
How does that work? The whole grown up thing, but
How,
also very slutty.
right. Like, how do you be an adult? Because I still don't know. And I'm going to be 30 next year. And I think I just learned how to really take care of myself. Like I feed myself every day,
This is,
so that's a huge thing. It might
yeah.
only still be 2 meals a day, but listen,
But it's baby steps, right?
I'm getting right. Like I'm feeding myself. It's a huge accomplishment
Yeah.
because sometimes you just go throughout the day, don't eat.
Yeah.
Being an adult is it's ghetto.
Yeah.
Like, it is
Yeah.
not. I mean, it has its perks and then it has its ups and downs. Like if we didn't have taxes and if America wasn't such a corporate business, I
Mhm.
think being an adult would be more fun.
Yeah. Well, I think the shift for me, especially, I mean, 30 was one of my favorite years ever. Like I hit 30 and I just, well, it was amazing because I was like, oh, I feel like a legitimate adult and I did kind of have my shit together.
I
But
hear that from everyone. I'm hoping that's the case.
I'm excited for you. Genuinely, it's amazing. And then as I'm getting older, I'm like, how is it getting better? I don't know. So you have a lot to look forward to. And I think my kind of main shift was with being intentional. And so now instead of just things happening to me, or, I guess I'll go along this path because it's right in front of me. I guess I'll be with this person because I just met, I met them and we vibe, but I'm not really thinking about compatibility. Like all of those sorts of things have now very much clicked. And so going into things with intention has been like kind of a shift for me in my 30s. And that has made it so all of the things that I've wanted have happened, are happening, you
Yeah.
know?
Do you feel comfortable talking about the industry that you shifted to when you took a break
I
or
mean, sure, because I got doxxed so fucking hard anyway that like,
oh
like,
shit.
yeah, I went into real estate. Uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. And so
Nice.
yeah.
Well,
And I was like
it is,
plastered
but
all over like revenge porn websites with like my real information and like my office. People were sending brokers in my office like pictures of me in porn, and like,
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
it was like kind of shitty, but also like, when I got into the adult work, you take
I
that
know.
risk. I was like, you know
Mhm.
what? Like, as long as my safety isn't compromised, which I didn't feel like it was, it was a little bit like, fuck you. like, like I knew I was going to be all the way out there. Like that my stuff was going to be on the internet forever. So now, I mean, and I still don't talk to my mom. And so she treats me like I'm in the industry anyway. So like, I don't care about that. My whole family knows. My dad was supportive when I told him I was going back into sex work. I was like, I just want you to know before you find out another way. And he was like, oh, like people have done that really successfully from mainstream. Like, he's like, you're in your 30s. Do what you want. It sounds like it makes you happy.
That's
So like that's why I feel like I have nothing holding me back. I have nothing that anyone can hold over my head with it. I'm like a very, very proud slutty mixed slut.
that's yes, proud. Say it loud and proud. Um, that sucks because real estate is a very like bougie industry. Like people are very uptight. It also too depends on what state and everything that you're
Mhm.
going into. But I mean, for the most part, it is a very dry, like button up collar industry. And so I can only imagine the photos that they were
Well,
sending you.
it was funny because it was an image of like because when you're in real estate, you put your stuff out there, right? You want people to call you,
Exactly.
you want people. So I went from being very, very private about my personal life to like,
Open.
here's my name and bio and phone number and who I work for.
Yeah.
And then that got screenshotted with some like images from some of my porn, which my favorite part about it is that they were obviously trying to show like the craziest porn I had done, which like one of them was like one of my gangbang things or something, but like they didn't show the like waterboarding or like getting like the 75 clothespins. It was just like, she has fucked people of another race, like it was like that, and I was like,
Oh
really?
gosh.
Because that's not fucking
Okay.
crazy.
Right.
Like,
Oh my goodness.
you
That is
know,
if you're going to try to shame someone, why would you like
I was like, that's not shameful. I can tell you,
right? Like
nothing I
what?
did was like, I did everything I wanted
Yeah.
to do. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but and honestly, it was funny because when I shifted into that new career, I didn't know how to act in the normal world. And so I went like, it was a complete pendulum swing. It was like from, like talking about gangbangs and choking on cock to like, ooh, I don't know what to do. I don't know how people normally act anymore because I was surrounded by this bubble in Vegas for so long. So it was button up shirts. It was kind of quiet. I had a couple people assume I was really religious, which is very funny knowing like how I was. I was like, oh, I'm just like, oh no,
That's
it's under there.
fine.
Oh, it's dirty under there. Um,
Oh my
so
gosh.
yeah, they were like,
Brilliant.
oh, like you seem like kind of, like, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not, but I just don't know what's appropriate anymore. I didn't know. And so it was weird in that sense, but and it ended up, I work for a company now which like my like business partner like also has an OnlyFans. So I'm like,
Oh
we're
wow.
we're t- like we're tight. He's like, go shoot porn, have fun. And so
But
like,
you're still in real estate.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. I'm still
Okay.
still doing all of that. So
Nice.
yeah, this is just like right now, like on the side, fun stuff, but I'm really enjoying it. And I have the full support of my family, whatever, non-mom notwithstanding, but like the full support of my family, of my career, like my vanilla life. Yeah, so there's
That
just
is, you literally have the best of both worlds.
I
Like
do, I
you
feel
didn't
like I do.
have to give up real estate to come back into the industry. Do you
Mhm.
feel like you might get doxxed being back in the industry with like your legal names and stuff getting out now since
Yeah, but to who? I mean, it's like, who you gonna
true,
tell? Who you gonna talk to about it? Like
very
my partner would be like, he's very gay, so he'd be like, ew, don't show me that shit. But like,
true.
he's like, don't send me pic. I was like, don't send me your pictures, ew. Like, no, like one of my best friends, but like, no, thank you. So there just isn't like, I have the full support of everybody in my life,
God,
and so it's just, I mean, it just doesn't matter. Like I decided to come back in as Sophia Locke and to keep that kind of branding. And I do feel like that. I feel like Sophia, like that is, it's part of my identity. Sex work or my sexuality is a big part of my identity. It's not all of it, of course, but yeah, I'm not worried about anything. It's so freeing. It's so beautiful and freeing.
What's the key to just being 100% free? Because I feel like it's such a hard thing to just be free and to not care, to just literally be careless. I know it sounds easier said than done. My little 5 listeners are probably like, "Oh, just be free. It's not hard." Like,
What's
okay,
the
then you
problem?
fucking come in here then. Like, you come into the industry then. Come out with your full name, show your face, do everything, and then tell
Social
me
security
that.
card. Um,
Oh my gosh.
no, and like, and I'm saying this 10 plus years in.
Right.
This is something where the trauma that I went through from losing the relationship that I had, which was a good relationship with my mother over it, it cannot be like understated. It was horrific, absolutely horrific. Lots of therapy, all of that kind of shit affects all of my relationships. So it's not, this industry is not without risk. It can have the highest risk. You know, you can lose your primary emotional support figure of your life, you know? And so that's something where when people talk about getting into it, you go, hey, even though you're okay with this, ideally, that you're comfortable with this as like your body and what you want to do, there are a lot of people who are not. And so you accept that risk or you don't, and either one's fine. You can choose what you do with your body and with your life. But knowing that risk, and then just knowing that like I'm not harming anyone, everything I do is consensual, and it makes me feel amazing about myself. And so really sinking into that makes me not give a fuck anymore. But I'm also like, you know, older and have done it and have, you know, gone through the ringer of this and of feeling the need to be private. You know, I'm also in Washington State where there are like bikini baristas. Have you seen this?
Yes. Okay. Um,
Kitty
I
cop.
fucking wish that they were around when I was a young in shape hot thing, because that sounds fucking awesome. Coffee and bikini girls, that's up
It's
my alley.
those girls are rocking it. But it's
Making
what's
money.
interesting to me is that all of these people that are going out and seeing them know where they work, know when they get off. No, and so the cam girl world is so like scared and private for good reasons. But that's, you know, there are aspects of sex work and of the industry where you are a little more open, where people do kind of know where you are and where you live. And so it's a matter of your personal comfort, but also I don't know. I didn't really ever have any, like, I mean, knock on wood, any like stalking issues or anything along those lines. I also was really, really careful to be, of course, there are people who are unhinged, but I think, like personally, the like emotional manipulation of men for money is something that like, doesn't sit right with me. And so everything was very like open and clear and transactional in that way of like, if you give me this, you will get this in return. And there was no like it's a fantasy. I'm going to tell you about my real life, but like the thought of anything more is not a part of sex work that I do. Like absolutely in-person sex work is for other people, but I never emotionally like led people on or did anything like that. And I think sometimes that leads to like attachments and stuff like that. So like I mean I'm all about like get your money and like do sex work, but I feel like it should be done for your safety and for just kind of moral purposes in an ethical way, you know.
Definitely. Before I forget my thought, do you consider bikini baristas as sex workers?
I would think so. I think anything where you are relying on like sexual gratification for money as sex work, which I fucking love. I don't believe in a hierarchy of, you know,
Yeah.
like, but if you do this, then it's better than this or less. It's just about
Right. It's all the
comfortable
same
with.
thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and it's like all, you know, those girls have like Instagram feeds where they're like, come to my OnlyFans, or they're promoting it and they're like promoting their sexuality as a means to make money, which
Right.
I am clearly all for.
Same. Only reason why I ask is because especially with the OnlyFans craze, a
Mm,
lot of girls that have OnlyFans that do like are implied nudity or bikini pictures or trying to
mm,
sell sex do not consider themselves as sex workers,
yeah.
even though you are if you're selling sex, which doesn't always mean in having sex with people
Like
physically.
penetrative in person.
Exactly.
Sure.
There are many different sub like category. Like sex work is such a broad
Hmm.
industry that there's so many things. So I was just curious because some people say no, and then some people say yes. So I always like to know where people stand, just
Yeah.
out of my own curiosity.
Well, and I
Um,
feel like you can define for your life and your body and your comfort level, you can define it any way you would like. I don't care. Like that's absolutely your prerogative. For me, that's my definition of it. And I'm proud to be a sex worker. I think, and I was always proud of that, even when I like retired, which is now in quotes. Um, um, but because of the social stigma, I like that people are able to talk about it and able to define it that way. But if it's something where that is too heavy of a thing, or it makes people feel more comfortable to say, well, it's, implied, or it's not full nude, and so it's not quite that. If that's what makes you feel good and empowered while doing what you do to make your money, or to feel good about yourself and your body, like, more power to you. I don't, girl, you do you.
then I guess I am a little judgmental because I feel like if I guess I'm just not judgmental, protective. I
Sure.
feel like if you're going to be doing something sexual to get money for it, but then you don't want to acknowledge sex workers, then to me, it's almost like you're coming into my space and you want to just take from it and reap the benefits, but you don't also want to take the consequences and the risks that can come from it. And that just kind of rubs me a little bit the wrong way because as a sex worker, we have a lot of stigma towards it.
Mhm.
And if I can sit here and say, yes, I'm a sex worker, I'm proud, and I do this and I do that, I also have to be able to take the consequences and the risk of knowing what also comes with saying that I am a sex worker or someone in the industry. And then I have someone that comes in my little space and wants to be a part of it and reap it, which more power, please come in, the more the merrier. But then you want to turn your nose down on me, but you're doing the same exact thing. I guess that's where I get a little like protective. Like, listen, we're doing the same thing. At the end of the day,
Sure.
we're in the same industry. So,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
that can go into a whole like debate.
I totally understand that. And I have my own, soapboxes as well, where
Yeah.
I totally get that. I have a lot of compassion for the kind of mental gymnastics that some people have to go through because of their
For
upbringing
sure.
or families or religion or whatever, that's the only way they can feel comfortable. I mean, if people are, shitting on, either full service sex workers or whatever, cam girls or strippers or, escorts, whatever, if they're doing that, then I mean, obviously that's shitty, but like, also that just shows that there's something within themselves that they're uncomfortable with and that they don't want to identify with
Mm.
that, which, I mean, whatever. I just wish like happiness and growth. Like,
It's funny that you say the mental gymnastics because my sister, who I have kept I've like my mom knows what I do. She's known from the very beginning, but I think she also kind of is naive where she pretends she doesn't want to
mhm.
know type of thing, but like
The mental
she
gymnastics right there.
yes, exactly. And so then I have younger siblings, and one of my youngest ones, she came to me and was like, "Hey, I'm starting an OnlyFans," and I specifically would block her on everything because she was a very judgmental person. She
Oh,
would snitch. And like my mom knew, but she knew to a degree what I was doing. So I'm like, you're my mom. Like, I don't need to tell you exactly what
it's
I'm doing.
quality. Yeah. Like that's some
Right.
things are kind of weird with parents, of course. Yeah.
Right. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you know, but I know you don't need to know the details.
Right.
And then, so I just always kept it like private, but it's the internet. I mean, okay, I block you on one account, but you can easily go and create another account and follow me.
Yeah.
So
Privacy is a thing with this.
exactly.
Sure,
So
sure.
she hits me up, she's like, hey, I'm starting an OnlyFans. I would love your help on this. And at first, I was taken back because it's like, why are you
Interesting.
coming to me? Of all
Hmm.
people, like you're coming to me. And then I just had a conversation. I was like, I'd be more than happy to help you out, but since you are my sister, I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, the raw, the evil, all of it. And if you still decide this is what you want to do, then we'll do it. But most importantly, since it's easier for me to hide like my family's identity when it's just myself, but now I have to make for sure that she does the same thing because we have baby sisters that
Yeah.
definitely I would never want their identity to be compromised or exposed because they're just too young, like
Yeah.
very young. And she's like, I didn't realize so much of this goes into like being in the industry. And I'm like, there's a
Hmm.
lot of work. It's not just taking photos, throwing it on the internet, and getting a check. It doesn't happen like that. You have to put an effort. I'm like, do you have a Twitter? Do you have this? Do you have that?
Hmm.
You have to file taxes on this. Are you sure that you want to potentially risk of never getting another corporate job again?
Yep.
Because that is a huge risk that could happen. And it was like a new world for her. And then she said, wow, I'm very even more proud of you for not really giving a fuck and still doing this because I
Oh,
didn't realize all of the risk that it took to do this. I'm like, bitch, yeah. Like,
how
I
validating for you too after
it was
she was so
actually
judgmental.
very validating because we don't
Good.
have the best relationship. We're 3 years apart, and when I moved out at 18, we just really drifted apart.
Yeah.
Tried to keep our relationship steady, but then she's very judgmental. She went through the whole like religious thing of Almighty Christ and like a super religious person, and then would judge people for being bisexual. Like she just went through that mental gymnastics,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
now she's at a point where she's like, I want to do this and I am accepting and understanding of everything. And then when OnlyFans had its whole like thing, she's like, well, where do I go now? And I'm like, okay, like I didn't think you were really serious, but she's like, I already have videos like with her and her fiance. And I'm like,
Oh,
okay, like it's just it's a weird thing when you people have to go through the hoops, and sometimes they come around, sometimes they don't. But
right.
it's just that really stuck out because I mean I'm going through it now in my own life. So
Yeah. And it was something where when I was on the outside of the industry for years and I watched OnlyFans like become like people were talking about it in normal everyday. I knew I had a coworker at one place I worked, like she started an OnlyFans and I was like, whoa, and talked about it publicly. Like
wow,
it was exciting for me. Like, and I know that of course there's that kind of side part of like, oh no, more competition and more saturation of the market.
of course,
But honestly, for the bigger picture of sex work being having a little bit less of a social stigma and it being a little more normalized, I was
mm-hmm.
pumped. I was fucking pumped.
Yes, it's a nice feeling to be in normal society and normal regular clothes and at
Mhm.
the grocery store and hearing someone talk positively about sex work.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God, it's like a wow,
Yeah.
baby steps. Like we are getting to a point where you can kind of talk about it and not feel judged. Or I was at a bar in a very red state, and the bartender and the owner of the bar started talking about what OnlyFans was doing to sex workers, and I was just like, "Listen, I'm a sex worker and I'm on OnlyFans, and this is how we felt." And
Good
I
for
never,
good for you.
ever,
Yeah.
ever in person, like I don't do that. I'm, I am I am completely not Sasha Rae in person. Like I
Yeah.
am, you would never know. And the fact that I just openly did not care, and I was in a red state too, where that type of topics aren't usually acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just nice.
I love that. And I think especially kind of like for my mom's generation, that type of feminism was, that no matter what, if you're showing your body, especially to men, especially for money, then you are a victim. You are, you're being victimized. You are like, it should be shamed. I remember her saying something about like how Hooters was gross and stuff, like just kind of a general sort of like, even if there was no way to do that and be like a proud, productive, successful
Person.
woman, even,
Yeah.
and so I think the kind of shift now that I'm seeing in society and that I felt within myself was that it really can be something empowering, and like you can be proud of your body and sexualize your body and be comfortable with other people sexualizing your body within your boundaries, um, and make money from it. And just like it never felt like something where I was a victim, not once. I never worked with any company that I felt like I wasn't happy doing what I was doing. Like I always felt like I had a say. And for me, that kind of whatever feminism that is, I really identify with that. And I wish, I wish of course my mom could like understand that, but it just was such, it was like, this is what sex work is. This is what my daughter is. If she is into this, then she must not be the person I know, as opposed to let me rethink my idea of sex work and what that can be for women. Because of course there are, like horrible, horrific, non-consensual avenues of these kind of things within sex trafficking and things like that, or like, like more dangerous sex work. But like what I was doing wasn't that. And it was just frustrating to see. But it's nice to see this kind of younger generation moving toward that. I mean, obviously like safely and within their own boundaries, and at an age where they can really understand what they're doing and what they're putting out there, with that caveat, of course.
Right,
But it is exciting to see people be like unapologetically unashamed of their bodies and their sexuality.
It saddens me because I can really tell that you miss your mom and that you had such a close relationship with her, and it's I mean, you can't change someone's mind, especially from certain generations too. They're just kind of
Yeah.
set in their ways. No matter how much new things that come up, they are, nope, this is how I was born, this is how I was raised, this is
The
what I
wall.
know. I will never, yes, I will never go through that wall. But I would think that with all that you have accomplished in the industry and out of the industry and who you are as a person, that it just saddens me that you're like someone like your mom can't even look past what you do for a living and just look at what you yourself have accomplished and
Yeah.
how you are safe and how you are taking care. There are cases where, some people just go down a really dark path and they never come back from it. And that is more on the dangerous side that no one really talks about of sex work. But that's with any industry. There's always a danger to anything you do in life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's because the way you talk about her, I just get like this feeling of almost heartbreak that has been healed. But
Yeah.
I mean, someone like that, do you ever really get over
Yeah.
that?
And I mean, it's like, it's hard because it's your parent, right? But like,
Right.
and it is this kind of, like a little bit of an ache of a thing that just couldn't be, there's absolutely, I went through a lot of grief with it. But am accepting because, you can't change other people's behavior. You can't change other people's minds. All you can do is just, communicate and
Yeah.
say that I said I'm here and I'm available for a relationship, but I will block you on every other thing because this kind of every so often thing isn't working for me. So I went no contact with one avenue if she was interested in having a relationship. And I have, I've accepted that that might be a relationship or probably won't be a relationship I'll ever have, but that love was conditional. And that's something that I'm kind of glad to know, like instead of just not ever telling her and then not knowing that there was something that could make it so that she would be out of my life. And I think it's a bummer because I liked her as a person, but it's just something now for me where when especially women coming into the industry or women who want to talk about it, like I have girlfriends in my like normal life too right now that are like, "Ooh, what's this about?" Where I'm like shit girl, I'll bring you in, like let's
Right.
go, like, but I want you to understand that this has further implications than just let me show my titties and get some money. Like that's not, and some
Exactly.
attention. Like it's definitely deeper than that. For me, it was absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. But for other people, it might not be. And so that's why I have a lot of like sympathy and I totally understand why some people are either judgmental or they'll kind of dip their toes in and be like, but I'm not really,
Yeah.
I get it. There's a lot of nuance to it. I'm in a really wonderful, happy place. But it's taken years.
Yeah. And when you put it that way, I can understand why someone might be judgmental or kind of be in a space, but not really be in it. Like now, you got me to see it from another perspective instead of me feeling so protective on trying to be like an advocate for sex workers and be like, no, if you're doing this, you're in the industry. But now I can see why someone may react the way that they do because it, anyone that comes to me that I don't even tell them about the money or taxes. I'm like you. There is a lot of risk, and if you're willing to do this, and I have to feel comfortable to really think that you are willing to do that for me to even give you any type of advice because I would hate to be the reason to bring someone in because yes, my life looks glamorous to people. I mean, it is a fun lifestyle to be in, but there's a lot of things that you don't say on the internet that happens, and I don't want to be the reason why you lose a parent or you lose a spouse or you lose someone that's really close to you because I didn't educate you well enough.
Yeah.
And I just kind of misled you because I didn't give you the opportunity to really know. I feel like it's my duty almost to inform someone on what you're getting yourself into. It's not like working at Hooters. Yeah, you could quit, okay? You're not really, you're showing little booties, some boobies, but you're not really showing it. Like, you're just teasing them there.
Yeah, no, this is like, especially like the really graphic, explicit stuff. And cam girls had this little kind of quieter corner of the internet. It's like if you get into like professional porn, you're saying, here's my image. Thank you for this money. You can do whatever the fuck you want with it. They will spread everywhere, which I think is fantastic. Other people might not. Fair enough. But with cam girls, it was kind of this thing where you can kind of tell yourself or even get away with just being in this tiny little unseen corner of the internet that like hopefully you don't get your stuff recorded and spread everywhere, but there are so many of us that like you could kind of do it privately. And I think that people want that, and I think it's a little bit harder these days with the internet being the way it is, with OnlyFans being the way it is. But hopefully, you know, society's taking a little bit longer to catch up. I think we're always kind of ahead of that curve. But it feels like it's kind of going in that direction, which is really encouraging to me and will hopefully take away some of that stigma.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with due time, I always say Rome wasn't built overnight or built in a year, and it's true. So things take time, and as long as we keep kind of keeping the space safe and inviting and open, that I only see it going better. I mean, there's a lot of things that I hope change quicker, like the racism in the industry and just the safety aspect, because it is a huge thing that I would hope kind of changes a lot faster, because I feel like we're a little bit behind as to where we should be in those retrogrades. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice little industry. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I like the idea of like being welcoming and inviting to, you know, like with the kind of like, hey, it does take a lot of work, you know, and I know you worked hard to be where you are, like I did as well. And so I totally understand that kind of like, well, like put in the work and see if it can work for you. You know, it isn't just
easy. It did not happen overnight. No. Or even in a year. I feel like I'm just now getting to a point in my career where I can feel like, okay, I'm kind of making it, and I've been in it since 2010, 2011. So it's a long time to put in hours, sweat. Like I gave my whole 20s to this industry. So I mean, it's just you got to work hard at it, and if it's something that you really want, you figure out a way. There's a lane for everyone.
There really is.
You just don't give up. Some are more privileged than other. That's just unfortunately life. But yeah, I mean, overall, it is a great industry to be a part of. You just have to know what you're getting yourself into, because once you're out, and there's no going back.
You can't put it back in that box. You just can't. Nope. Yep.
And close.
No. Once you open your box, you can't put. Is that?
Yeah, you can't close it. Like it's just open.
Is that where we're going? Yeah.
It just stays open.
It does.
But okay, I kind of want to play a game with you
Sure.
because I like playing games just to kind of like, spice it up a little bit. Feel like we really touched some deep core things that needed to be done, but I think it's time to like loosen up a little bit.
All right.
Even though I feel like I know what your answers are going to be.
Okay. Okay. You do know way back, so like
Exactly.
not much. It's just got intense, and I feel more confident about it. Good luck with this.
So we are going to play this or that. You've played this before, right?
Sure.
Okay, so let's see. Would you rather be in a loveless marriage or a sexless marriage?
Shit. That is hard.
That's a hard one.
God, why can't I say neither? Those both sound terrible. I guess sexless. Because
Really?
the love part's so important. It's so fulfilling and important. Then it's one of those like, but it's cool if I do porn, right? Like, I'm gonna find a loophole.
Okay.
I will find one in your game.
There's the loophole. Okay, because I was gonna say, bitch, you cannot go without sex.
I've left relationships before because of it, because of like a sex drive issue. Absolutely.
Exactly.
I have a very high one and I need my partner to want me. But I mean, if I have to go without it, like you're not giving me very good options is all I'm saying.
Listen.
That's the game. Don't yell at me. God.
Exactly. Damn, that was a good one right off bat too. Okay, let's see. Would you rather have a one night stand with a stranger or your platonic best friend?
Oh, a stranger. Been there, done that. How many times?
Yeah, millions.
Use protection, kids.
Yes, please be safe. Seriously,
But
safe.
no, I haven't like something about like porn, especially like just showing up and knowing you're gonna get fucked and it's gonna be on camera and you're like just meeting somebody and then their dick is gonna be in you in 20 minutes. I am about it. That shit is hot.
You never
So,
get like nervous though, like
oh no, just excited. Because you know that like they know what they're doing. So like that's,
true.
and then if you're working for a company that like takes, like is really professional and takes care of people, which I've only worked for those companies, then like then you're it's like a roller coaster. It's like skydiving for vaginas. It's amazing.
Might have to add another another business to my resume.
Skydiving for vaginas. Put it on. Let's go.
Let's see. Would you rather make out with someone at a nightclub or make out with someone at a funeral?
I mean, funeral for the story.
I was just gonna say a funeral sounds like a great story.
I
but then
remember,
it sounds kind of fucked up.
in Vegas when I was like single in Vegas, like the last year I was there, I was like at one of the clubs and I found these like two German boys and like I made out with one while the other one fingered me from behind, but I could like feel both of their bodies and I was like, this is the life that I wanted.
Yes.
It was fucking hot, but never at a funeral. So, goals, hashtag goals.
Right. Like, I mean, I feel like, club, been there, done that. Like,
Yeah.
I fucked in a VIP room with people constantly coming in and out. No notes given. Such a hot night. But never at a funeral. Like, I would love to just, damn, this sounds fucked up. I guess it depends on who died.
On who died, yeah. Like how close you were to the person who died. That's
right. For me to
like an acquaintance funeral.
Yeah. Okay. See, it sounds better.
I'm trying to help out.
Like,
dig you out of the hole.
Totally fucked at this funeral I went to last night. It was amazing.
Oh my god, he looked so good in black. I was crying.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. Damn. I think we're kind of fucked up, but
yeah. I'm in good company.
Would you rather be financially satisfied or sexually satisfied?
In general or in like life?
In life.
Like in life. I guess.
And no, porn does not pay for you because I know you're trying to give a loophole.
I will find the loophole. I guess sexually satisfied. I feel like that's on brand, right? Sorry, my cat is meowing on my.
That's fine. I was like, is that your
um,
cat? Or is
yeah,
that her cat?
especially because that's like such an important like part of. I don't know. Yeah, I've not.
So you would rather be like homeless and poor as long as you're getting fucked. You'd be okay.
I mean, I like really dirty sex, so
True. On
so if
brand. Okay.
it.
Yeah, that fits you.
Mhm.
Let's see. See, I feel like these games are like so vanilla for us.
I know we're like, would you rather have a one night stand? We're like, sure.
Okay. Let's see. Would you rather have sex on the kitchen table or the washing machine?
I've done both.
Mm-hmm.
The kitchen one was like a couple days ago, which was fantastic.
Oh.
So the washing
Was
machine
it the
one,
delivery guy?
no, no. Um, it was fantastic. But the washing machine I did when I was like 18, I went to a college campus. I think it was like UC Santa Barbara. And I went and I was at a party and this guy like fucked me on top of a washing machine and I couldn't feel his dick because it was so small, which like I'm not a size queen. Like I'm just like, oh cool, like dicks are dicks, they're great. But like it was so tiny that I literally couldn't feel it. So I'm gonna pick kitchen counter just based off of my own personal.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
The washing machine doesn't count. So
No. And it wasn't on, so it wasn't like it was vibrating.
yeah, I was gonna say yeah, like it wasn't on, so you get the
Mm,
vibration and
no.
yeah,
The
no,
kitchen
you need a
was like
redo.
perfect height. So
Okay. Yeah, no, you need a redo. You never fucked on a washing machine.
yeah, no, not properly. You're,
Something.
you're right.
Let's see. Would you rather accidentally fart during sex or during a big jaw presentation?
Probably during sex, because like I feel like we've all had that happen.
Yeah.
I could just call it a queef and then we'd be good, right? Is that
Unless have
I
you
know where you're going with that. Yeah, you're right. There's some more obvious factors to that. Damn.
Yeah, because there's times where you think, oh, this is just gonna be like very silent, they won't notice, and then next thing you know, you're just like, the fuck is that smell?
No, I had a dude who ended up being kind of like not a great person, but he like in a very quiet room, as he came on my face, he farted really loud. And like I had to like be polite and pretend that like I didn't notice, but it was like
Oh my
the
god.
loudest.
I mean, if he's coming on your face, that means his ass is like also right there near your face.
It was cool. I was more embarrassed for him. Like, I mean, like stuff happens.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
it definitely happens. Yeah.
yeah, but it was like also with him being like not a good person. Like I found out, but like I was a little bit like fart cum guy.
What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you during sex?
mm, I don't think I've had too much embarrassment, especially like the things that I worry about like during like shoots are
Mm-hmm.
like if it's like an anal scene and then you do like a full fucking clean out the night before. Like it is no
Mm-hmm.
joke.
Yeah.
I got like a rundown of how to do that so that because I've heard stories of like stuff happens like even in like super public shoots, so like that's like my nightmare, but it hasn't
Okay.
happened. I would say like the funniest, most embarrassing thing was I was on cam years ago and I was like fucking myself and my pussy was really close to the camera, but you could also see my face. And there were a ton of people in there and I queefed really loudly and kind of kept going just to see if like maybe they didn't notice, and like, that's a lot of people to do that in front of. And then my entire chat from the bottom up went queef, 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 queef. Everybody was like, motherfucking queef. And I was like, okay, all right.
That's
So
funny.
clearly I didn't
That's
have
funny.
it very well.
That is funny. Queen, queen. No.
Queef, 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 queef. It was like hundreds of like queef, queef, queef. I'm like, thanks guys.
Oh
Appreciate
my
it.
goodness. Oh,
Love you.
love it. Let's see. Teas with hot wax or with ice cubes?
Hmm, probably hot wax, I guess. I was afraid of that for a while because I think I had done it once and it was too hot.
Really?
And then I did a scene with Cherry Torn, who is wonderful. And she like, I got like mummified, like wrapped in this like tape stuff. And then she did it on my tits from like a ladder. And
Oh.
it felt really good. But the best part was that like once it dried, she like went over with her hands and like rubbed it off really hard and really fast. And it was like the perfect amount of painful. It was, so yeah, hot wax is my answer.
So do you get waxed or do you shave?
Oh, so I shave. The one time I ever did a full Brazilian wax, this bitch took off like a little piece of skin, like right near my clit. And I left like a Yelp review that she like buried under like 20 other Yelp reviews and called me and yelled at me the next day. So never again. And also I get a really close shave with like conditioner and a man's razor. Like
Yeah. Was
it was in LA.
was it like a very popular wax center that like is also a country?
I don't know. I can't remember. It was so many years ago. It was probably like in my early 20s.
Okay.
But it was like tons
Okay,
of
I'm
really
gonna
good
say
Yelp.
their name because I don't give a fuck. Was it European Wax Center?
I can't remember now.
Okay.
I mean
The
that,
only reason why I asked
but let's
is
call them out. Let's do that shit.
no, seriously, because the only reason I asked is I got waxed for the first time in July. No, July. Yes.
Mhm.
And it was painful. I felt
Yeah.
like Steve Carell and 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
literally,
But on
that's
your
how I felt. And then I tried it again a second time. It was a little bit more like, okay, it still hurts, but it's nice not having to shave my vagina like every other day.
right.
Then I started to notice that I had cuts on the inside, like flaps. And I'm like, well, I can't say it's from shaving because I haven't had a razor in 2 months. And I'm like, this bitch is literally ripping out my vagina.
Oh
And
no.
I was like, I canceled. So I'm supposed to have an appointment this month. I canceled it. And I was like, I'm never getting waxed again. I don't know why I thought I was that bitch to sit here and like, be like, I get waxed. No, I should have never left my razor. But it's funny that you said she ripped off your skin because I don't know. These bitches don't know what they be doing, okay?
Maybe a little. They're a little sketchier than we realized. Yeah. Yeah. It was
It's
not
like in and out too. It's like I'm in there maybe 5 minutes at most.
for the whole
The
thing.
whole Brazilian, yes. So
That's kind
she's
of
just
impressive.
like ripping, and she's such a nice waxer. She's so nice, but she also says like people they have her back to back booked, so it makes sense why she has to get through it really fast. So
Yeah.
I don't blame her at all. But I'm like, girl, it's my vagina. You cannot mess up her.
You have to
She's
be careful with it.
beautiful. Yes,
Yeah.
and I did not realize that. And I was like, fuck that. So it's funny that you said that. I thought it was the same company.
I mean,
I
it might be. I don't know. It was somewhere in LA like 10
It
years.
probably is, or you probably might have went to some real bougie ass place if it was LA too, somewhere like Beverly Hills or somewhere.
I can't remember. I think it was in the Valley somewhere when I lived there.
Oh, girl, no, you should never.
I know this.
Wrong.
I know this
That's
now.
where you went wrong.
I know this. She had like all these Yelp reviews that were amazing. And I was like, oh, this is great. And then when I put mine in there, it was buried 5 pages down within, like she made email accounts.
It's just perfect. Like, no.
Yeah. Yep. She like faked it all. Yeah.
Fuck that. I feel like I'm never going to get sponsors because I be calling out people so much on the show. And then I go back and I'm like, should I bleep out the name? I'm like, fuck them. They're never gonna work with me. Like,
Sorry.
Who cares?
Well, but then you just work with people you really do want to promote and support, and then like that's
exactly.
that's
So,
the way to do it. I like that.
Let's do like 2 more. Let me see if I can find something juicy. It's really hard when like you do so much.
Done a fair amount. A few things here and there.
Let me ask this. What have you not done that you want to do? If there is any.
Okay, so I never did anything with like piss play, like when I was like because I feel like I feel like it's gotten a little like less stigmatized like that. And I hadn't really tried anything with that anyway, but like with my kind of like degradation, humiliation fetishes, I was like, maybe that'd be something I'd try. But I was like, oh, never on camera. Like that was like, oh, that would be crazy. And then like I had tried it with my partner and was like, oh, I'm kind of into this. And so coming back into it, I'm like, I would do like a piss gangbang for sure. Like
Okay.
calling out like the bigger companies, like if anyone wants me for that, I would for sure do it just because I'm like personally think that would be really hot if it was done in like a kind of degrading way.
So, what did you get peed on, or did you do the
I
peeing?
would get peed on. I don't care about peeing on
Okay.
people. That's like, I'm so submissive, except for with like women sometimes. But
Yeah,
I
you're
like,
kind of dominant. I think it depends on the woman for you.
yeah, it depends on like I get like a vibe with some women where I'm like, ooh, I would be totally submissive to you, or I'm like, hey girl, let me show you some things. Like it just depends on the vibe.
Like you go show me a thing or two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would come home feeling like a whole new bitch. I'm like, oh my lord,
You're like, that was vagina skydiving. I don't know what just happened.
I don't even recognize who is this bitch in the mirror because I don't recognize her.
Oh,
I
she's
don't know why.
glowing.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see. Let me find a good one. Ooh, okay. Would
Yes.
you rather get a urinary tract infection each time you have sex, or never be able to finish? That's a hard one.
I'm gonna go with never be able to finish because like orgasm for me isn't my goal with sex. Like I do come pretty easily and like quickly and I really enjoy them, but like
Okay.
for me, I like the adrenaline, especially if there's like BDSM, like kind of fear play involved or like that ramping up of stuff. Like I really enjoy that. And it's not the same as like a vaginal, like, or whatever, clitoral orgasm. Um,
Uh-huh.
so, and I've never had a UTI and I just hear they're
You've
miserable.
never had a UTI?
Never. And I pee
Like
after
ever in your life?
literally never. I'm so sorry. Please don't yell at me.
Yeah, I'm gonna yell.
Okay, that's fair.
Like,
I'm
how
on
the
your,
fuck have you never had a UTI?
I,
Oh
some bitch took it off
Lord.
my clit. Are we okay though?
Fucking
I've had some
jealous over here. Fucking, I can get a UTI just from eating too much dairy. Like
no,
my
really. Oh,
pH, yeah, like my
oh,
pH
it's
balance.
sensitive down there.
It
Oh,
is very
you gotta
sensitive.
be it.
So, ugh, man,
Yeah.
whatever. And then too, I can be a lazy bitch and like roll over right after getting fucked and go to sleep, which also does not help. But
Yeah, but that's kind of fun too.
yeah, like I'm tired. Like you don't fuck the soul out of me.
There's a lot of work that has to happen after you. Yeah, no. No.
There's a lot of prep after, like cleanup after you have sex. It's not how it is in movies where you just fuck, you put your clothes on, you go on about your day.
No.
No,
No.
no.
Like you get fucked
I wish.
good, and then if you have like the cum inside of you, and then you're like,
Oh
okay,
my
but that's in
god.
there, and like
Right,
that's
gotta get it
hot.
out.
Or
And then
not.
it's nice knowing that it's in there. And you just kind of go to sleep, and then
Yeah.
you wake up and you're kind of sticky.
Also the other day. Yeah. No, I love it. Well, and I had my tubes removed last year. So like I had surgery because I was like, I don't want babies. Like I'm 36. And so now I have that like and
Wait,
IUD because of the hormonal stuff. So I'm like the most baby proof person on the planet. So
they
I'm like,
let you remove your tubes without having conceived a child
oh,
first?
100%. You fucking better let me in my body. I had a really wonderful, like, a gynecologist. She was great. Oh,
How rude.
how dare they?
How dare
Don't
they?
they know?
Don't right?
Yeah.
This is what happens when your studio is out of your house. Oh, it's an
Mhm.
Amazon package.
Yay, this is exciting. Okay, cool.
Hey, okay. I wish it was I wish it was on brand and it was like sex toys or something sex related, but
Just say it is. Just be
it
like, oh my God, my fucking
yeah.
is here.
Oh my god, my Sibian is here.
Oh my God. I still have my gold Sibian, my sparkly
Do
golden one.
you really?
I do. It's in my closet right now. I can't use it in an apartment, but like I still have it.
Oh, are you on like the top floor or something?
Yeah, well, I mean, like it's just anyone could hear. It's like a jet engine. Like
Oh
I,
yeah, yeah, true, true. Who
yeah,
gives a fuck
yeah,
though?
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna
I'm
loan.
curious.
I'm gonna loan it to a friend. I think like Carla is like, oh, I'd use it. I'm like, okay, good. You can use it. Use, like at least somebody needs to get orgasms from it because
What a good times those were. Everyone was getting a Sibian. Damn.
like the Oprah of Sibians, like you get a Sibian and you get
You get a Sibian, and
you
you
get an
get a
orgasm.
Sibian. And then everybody gets a Sibian, and we just all come together.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that.
She's like, oh,
Oh,
I
we
love
all
you.
come together. Wait.
Um, do you plan on coming to any conventions this
I'd
year?
like to. Yeah, I mean, if they have them, I know with like all the COVID stuff, I think like things have been kind of like wishy-washy with that. But I'd love to go to like the ABN stuff, AE stuff, AE. My God, it's been years. In January, maybe. Like so
Yeah.
something really fun. I'd love to do that. Like I said, I want to go like full out in the industry this time, like very intentionally. So
Yeah, because I know the Exoticas are open. There's Miami,
okay.
which is next week, and then New Jersey, which is next month. And
Oh,
then
okay.
AVN and XBiz are both in January, so they're fully open too. So y'all heard
Yeah,
it here first. You might get to see her again in real life. Just
that would be
buy a
great.
ticket.
And then you too, like if you're going to, it'd be great to see
Yes,
you.
that'd be so much fun. I
Yeah.
don't know. I might go to Exotica, New Jersey.
Yeah.
If not, I'm definitely gonna try to go to Vegas. But Vegas is such a it's like a festival to me because it's like non-going
It's an
full
event. It is a fucking event.
industry event.
Yeah.
So I think it just depends on what the vibe is for AVNs. But
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I appreciate you for even coming onto my five listener podcast and catching
Um,
up and hanging out with me. And there goes my dog, so I think it is time to
puppies.
go.
Well, thank you. I mean, thank you so much for having me. It's like it's been such a joy to like talk to you and kind of like rehash like old times. Like that's really fun.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for like this journey for you and to like even be a small part of it is such an honor for me. So
Oh, thanks, little
yeah.
me. Got me.
No, it's
If I
exciting.
was light skinned, you could see me blush, but I am blushing.
It's there. There. Yeah.
Tell everyone where they can find you.
Sure. So my Twitter is _Sophia Locke _. I think everyone's like shadow banned, so you have to put it in specifically and make sure your explicit settings are like allowed. And then my OnlyFans is the Sophia Locke, and it's SOPHIALOCKE. I show a lot on there, probably more than I should for the price, but I'm just really excited to be showing people things again. So
Back
I'm
out there.
look at it, jerk off to
Awesome. And
it.
then I'll leave everything linked below. And if you're listening, it'll be in like the message thing, and then on YouTube, it'll be in the description below. And then one last thing, because I love music,
Yeah.
I need to know what is your go-to song at the moment.
Oh gosh, that is a good question. Ah, I like
Put
have
you
like a
on the
whole
spot.
like playlist. I'm kind of digging like Alec Benjamin's stuff. He has like such a really unique voice and it's like such sweet. I listen to really sweet, pretty voices. Yeah, so like I kind of like his stuff
Okay.
right now. Yeah, I don't know, just pretty nice things, which is the opposite of the dirty, raunchy stuff that I do.
Gotta balance the two. Always
You
balance.
gotta make it even, right? You gotta even it out.
I will pull him up and I will find a song that resonates with me, and then I'll put it on the Chaotic Madness playlist. Every
Fun.
week there's a new episode. There's going to be like a new song added based off of the person that I'm interviewing. So that's also in the description below. And until next time, I'll be back with a new episode next week.
All right,
See
thank you,
you
Sasha.
later.
Thanks. Bye, guys.